In the summer of 1922, New York was a city intoxicated by its own prosperity. The stock market soared, alcohol flowed freely despite prohibition, and fortunes were minted overnight. But beneath the blinding spectacle of the Jazz Age, a quiet, pervasive decay was taking hold. When a young bond salesman named Nick Carraway arrived on Long Island that summer, he stepped directly into this gilded mirage. Settling in the newly rich enclave of West Egg, Nick found himself surrounded by people desperate to perform their wealth. This was a society operating on raw, physical energy. The nights were defined by relentless rhythms, imported liquor, and a frantic drive to consume as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Yet this frantic consumption offered no blueprint for the future. The endless accumulation of capital in West Egg served entirely as a sparkling mask, stretched thin over a profound societal exhaustion. Nowhere was this mask more elaborate than next door to Nick, at the sprawling estate of J. Gatsby. Every weekend, Gatsby's illuminated mansion acted as a magnet, drawing hundreds of uninvited guests into a theater of staggering opulence. Amidst the shattered glasses and swimming pool jazz, the host remained distinctly apart. Gatsby didn't drink, and he didn't dance. He stood in the shadows of his own festival, an isolated spectator. His attention was fixed elsewhere. Look past the carnival on his lawn, across the dark expanse of the bay, to the fashionable shores of East Egg, and Gatsby's gaze always rested on a single distant green light burning at the end of a dock. For Gatsby, the American dream had nothing to do with building a new financial empire. His vast fortune was merely a tool, a mechanism engineered to reverse time, erase history, and reclaim the woman who lived across the water, Daisy Buchanan. Daisy and her husband, Tom, belonged to East Egg, an exclusive fortress of inherited wealth. They were insulated by generations of privilege, allowing them to drift through life consuming whatever they pleased, detached from the wreckage they left in their wake. Gatsby, on the other hand, was born James Gatz, the son of destitute farmers. He meticulously constructed a new identity and amassed a bootlegging fortune, convinced that enough money could purchase a permanent place in the Buchanans' elite world. When Nick finally arranges a private meeting between Gatsby and Daisy, the illusion actually holds. For a few intoxicating hours, standing amidst his imported shirts and manicured gardens, Gatsby's sheer, desperate willpower seems to bridge the gap. But the geography of Long Island tells a different story. The physical body of water separating the two eggs is a reflection of a rigid psychological barrier. New money can mimic the aesthetic of the upper class, but can never buy pedigree. To travel between the wealthy estates of Long Island and the distractions of New York City, the elite must pass through a mandatory purgatory. This is the Valley of Ashes, a desolate, gray expanse where the industrial byproducts of the city's booming economy are dumped and left to settle. It is also home to the human collateral of that economy. People like George and Myrtle Wilson, a mechanic and his wife, exist here, coated in the dust of the passing rich, struggling to survive on upper-class scraps. Looming over this wasteland is an abandoned optometrist's billboard. The giant, unblinking blue eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg stare out from a pair of yellow spectacles, watching the dust drift endlessly. Those fading painted eyes serve as a silent witness to the era. They represent an entirely commercialized deity in a society that has discarded spiritual morality, replacing it with advertising, endless financial transaction, and total apathy. The mounting pressures of the summer finally break on the hottest day of the year, inside a cramped, sweltering parlor at the Plaza Hotel. Here, Gatsby corners Daisy and presents his ultimate impossible demand. He insists she tell Tom that she never loved him, attempting to completely erase 5 years of marriage and history with a single sentence. Tom strikes back with cruel precision, exposing Gatsby's criminal ties and mocking his origins. Under the weight of Tom's relentless, aristocratic confidence, Daisy's resolve fractures, and Gatsby is forced to watch his meticulously engineered fantasy evaporate in the heat. It is the moment the facade breaks. No matter how perfectly a romantic illusion is constructed, it cannot withstand the crushing, immovable weight of actual history. The drive back to Long Island is steeped in panic. A highly distressed Daisy takes the wheel of Gatsby's heavy yellow automobile and speeds blindly into the dark. Passing through the Valley of Ashes, the car strikes Myrtle Wilson. The impact is sudden and violent, leaving her lifeless body in the dust as the yellow car speeds away without stopping. In the immediate aftermath, Tom and Daisy do what the old elite are trained to do. They close ranks. They retreat into the impenetrable fortress of their vast wealth, packing their bags and leaving Gatsby alone to bear the consequences of their shattered lives. Standing outside Daisy's house that night, keeping watch over a woman who has already abandoned him, Gatsby's enchanted object loses its magic. The green light that promised an orgastic future is suddenly just a mundane bulb burning at the end of a dock. Driven mad by grief and convinced the eyes of T.J. Eckelberg are the eyes of a punishing god, George Wilson seeks out the owner of the yellow car. He finds Gatsby drifting in his swimming pool and pulls the trigger. The contrast of the ensuing funeral is deafening. The vibrant crowds who eagerly consumed Gatsby's liquor and food all summer are entirely absent. The sprawling mansion is empty, and Daisy does not send a single flower. He dies as a sacrificial offering. Gatsby was destroyed by a parasitic society that was perfectly willing to feast on his wealth, but completely unwilling to accept his humanity. Disgusted by the moral bankruptcy of the East, Nick Carraway packs his belongings. Before leaving, he wanders down to the Long Island shore to brood over the empty mansions and the dark water. He realizes that Gatsby's doomed fixation on the green light is the exact tragedy of the American dream itself. It is the pursuit of a shimmering, orgastic future that continually recedes before us, always slipping just out of reach. We are all caught up in this impossible pursuit. We beat on, boats against the current, endlessly stretching our arms toward a past we can never catch. If you enjoyed this exploration of literary history, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the stories that shape our culture. Thanks for watching.